Welcome back to Dungeon Master's Corner. Today, we'll explore what happens to a friendship built on a foundation of support, and what happens when that foundation is flammable. Welcome back to another episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. I am Brian.
And I'm Nicole.
And today I'm actually handing the reins over.
Yeah, because we're going to be talking about our Tal'Dorei game that we have together.
Now, have we talked about this one much?
No, I actually think this is one of the first times we're talking about it, so we should actually talk about our little party that we have. Who are you in this one?
So, I play Amaya Sendal. She looks kind of, I think, half-elfy, human-y looking, but in reality, she is secretly Dhampir, the half-vampire, cleric of
Arathis.
So, well, I was going to say, in Faerun it's Arathis, but in Exandria, what is she called again?
I believe she's the Lawbearer.
The Lawbearer, that's right. I always forget, because Matt Mercer had to use those fancy, not Faerun names for the gods.
But they're totally
it's totally Arathis. It's totally Arathis. So, she's a cleric of order. And I love the order domain. It is so much fun, because I am essentially playing a cop. And, like, I think one of our first battles, I used hold person on a bugbear, or something, and then I put the handcuffs on. No, it wasn't even hold person. It was my channel divinity. I basically had him freeze in place, and then put handcuffs on him and ended the combat. Like, that's what... If you've not played an Order Cleric, do it. I was called the Law and Order Cleric.
So we have Amaya. We have our friend Matt plays a Firbolg druid named Aurelia, Circle the Wildfire from Pyra, and she'll actually be the main focus of this.
Yes, you know Matt very well as Timber, Thok, and Enoch from our other stories.
Gosh, Enoch.
We'll get back to Enoch.
I don't even want to think about it right now.
We'll get back to Enoch, anyway.
But we also have our friend Gina playing Nico Drosselmeyer, a Zemnian soul puppeteer, which is a weird custom class I made, which has a lot of kinks that still need to be worked out. And then we have... Yeah, it does. It's very tied up in its own strings, if you catch my drift.
No, you don't get to move on without mentioning the elephant in the room with Nico.
He is accompanied by his brother, Toby.
Uh-huh. What's special about Toby?
He's a ventriloquist puppet.
Yeah. We have a fucking puppet traveling with us that can walk and talk on its own. Like, that's not creepy. Honestly, I don't care how much art Amber makes for this character. All I see is Puppetmon. I just see Puppetmon from Digimon.
Yeah.
You at home, Google Puppetmon. That is following me around in my nightmares in this game.
It's just a puppet possessed by a soul somehow, and Nico's goal is to try to get the soul back into his proper body. Very Full Metal Alchemist returned to the proper form. And then we have Ren, an Eladrin fighter, arcane archer. She's really cool, really bubbly and sweet. Not as traumatized.
Not as traumatized. She's much happier than the rest of us. Her player also surprises us quite frequently in-game with drawings of our characters responding to things that had just happened, which adds a very interesting element. You used to be able to do that as well, but once you start DMing, it's a lot harder to get that, like, slipped in.
Part of me misses it, but the other part is I get to create this story and this world for you, and I am so fortunate to have her as an artist in my group, and I just love her so much. But to give context of where they are in-game, they are taking place during the Chroma Conclave arc of Critical Role.
We are not at the same level.
No,
we are nowhere near the same level.
Aurelia is from Pyra, which was ground zero of where Thordak emerged from the fire plane and destroyed it. So she has a lot of trauma, and she was a refugee who met Amaya down in Vasselheim, and then they traveled across to Tal'Dorei proper, and that's where the adventure really kicked in. Because they're trying to seek answers, seek refuge from what's going on in the world. Aurelia is traumatized by fire, but she is a wildfire druid. Just let that sink in for a moment. She has a lot of problems with her fire magic, but she only has fire magic. So she claims. So there has been, it started with the first session, did a little one-shot bakery mission, go get this recipe, bring it back. She nat 1'd, and we do the confirmation. If you nat 1, you have to roll again. If it's under a 10, you hit an ally. She threw the produce flame at Amaya. Okay, you know, it happens. Accidents happen all the time.
Shrug that one off.
Shrug that one off. It's alright. First session, mistakes, sure. And then it happened again. She got set on fire at least once per session by accident, to the point that as DM, I'm sitting here going, ooh, with the more damaging fire spells, this is going to be real bad. So I may have made a loot drop that was a fire-resistant cloak, just to kind of help buffer it out.
I would like to point out, Amaya got this cloak. I saw it, I knew it was for me, and I took it. I have used this cloak on multiple occasions. I have never used this cloak from an enemy attack. It literally has only been used to deflect fire thrown at me by Aurelia. I've used this more than once.
And we're only like 10, 11 sessions into this game, and she's been set on fire at least 10, 11 times.
Yeah, well, to be fair, so originally we kept making the joke, every session I get set on fire. Every session I get set on fire. I think it was 4 sessions in a row. And then the 5th session, I think I wasn't set on fire. And
we're like, oh,
Matt was just like,
broken.
Yeah, it's broken. It's broken. 6 sessions, set on fire again. It's like, no, you were just lulling me into a false sense of security before setting me on fire again. And I get heated about this, pun completely intended. Because it's always me. She has never accidentally set anyone else on fire. Though
it's never Nico. It's never Ren.
It's never Toby!
No, she got Toby once last time.
No,
when
she never killed him.
No, that's true. She didn't kill him. But she did get
That's
him.
what I want.
So, Matt is wonderful as a player, and basically gave me this character say, hey, fuck me up, with nightmares and terrors.
Oh so, God, right.
As a good DM, that's what I do. So I gave her a terrible, simple nightmare because of a conversation that she had had with Nico before bed. And Aurelia woke up from the nightmare and cast Burning Hands towards Toby, who happened to be patrolling around the camp trying to help keep watch, because he doesn't need sleep. Creepy little bastard. And he had ended up behind Amaya at that point.
So I still got set on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saved and I used the cloak, so I only took like 2 points, but still. She gets the little bastard, but she still has to get me in the process?
Mm-hmm. But she is a very... When she's not setting you on fire, she's a very sweet, traumatized little druid. What is it with druids and trauma, by the way? That just seems to be... If you're a druid, here's your extra helping.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of that's just you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Our little war criminal.
Honestly, it's one of the best nicknames I've ever gotten. But I digress.
That says more about you than anyone else, to be fair.
Yeah. But I digress. They have a budding and burning little friendship going on, which will be very interesting to see how it continues.
Honestly, I think Amaya and Aurelia became friends simply because Amaya... Well, proximity. Aurelia had problems she didn't want to talk about, and Aurelia had problems she didn't want to talk about, and Amaya didn't want to listen. was very nice having someone watch your back who didn't bother you with things like backstory or past trauma, and now I'm being set on fire because of it.
Because of the unaddressed trauma.
I mean, I had I think Amaya is 19 at this point. Most of her life was spent hiding from being bullied by people who tormented her for being part vampire. And she's fine. There's no issues whatsoever going on there.
None at all. How are your parents?
Shut up! They'll be dead soon.
This is usually the part where we talk about what we learned as a DM. I'm just here and always interested to see what you guys come up with and how the story will grow and change and how your characters will grow and change. And I'm just here to, add a little bit of kindling to that fire.
Please stop setting me on fire. Stop letting him set me on fire. I'm a vampire. Vampires don't like fire. I'm gonna start sleeping in the river. I don't need to breathe. I'll sleep in the river from now on.
That would protect you.
It would protect me.
You need to make sure to always sleep by a river.
Or I could just carry a coffin full of water around with me.
A little cumbersome to deal with, but possible.
We have a cart. Yeah, Mrs. Nichols!
Oh, Mrs. Nichols.
But that's a story for another time.
Indeed. So, thank you for joining us for this episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. I've been Nicole.
And I've been Brian.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye!
Bye! Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dungeon Master's Corner. If you'd like to support us, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Reliably Chaotic to help restore Amaya's wardrobe. She's not a material girl. She just doesn't want to wear ashen rags. You can also drop us a line on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic. We'd love to hear from you.